It's your boy Doug. Hello everyone in 60s gang. It's your boy Doug. 20, 40, 60. He could have made it 100. Nice little tip. I'll be talking my money back. You know, being on time, people like when you be on time. They give you the tips and shit. I like lettuce. You like lettuce? Love lettuce. That's what I used to call it back in the day. Alright, we are gonna go home. We are currently in Wood, Georgia. I was gonna see if there's anything along the way that might interest me. And there was a dryer. It's still there. If it's still here, I will go. If it's not, I'm going to fuck home. He probably got it. Somebody took it because I didn't want to go anyway. Dishwasher, refrigerator. Yeah, he got them dryers. Okay, we got a refrigerator in Loganville. If it's freezing in the back today, I can do that one. That's on the way home. It's another one. Driana. Trent. Alright, let's head towards Loganville. See what we can do.
We don't want my dad's truck. His ass is over here.
What up, world? This your boy Ed, aka the Togo, man. Y'all see what's going on. We back with another video. That's right, we back with another video. And we about to get active in a few minutes, man, because we've been checking the hit list. And we got a couple things around the area that we want to swoop up. You know, so we got a couple, we work with a title loan company too, though, because people been taking them title loans out and they had reached out to us and was like, can y'all get back the cars that we got the title loans out that people ain't paid for? So we want to get them back too today also. But y'all know what's going on, man. And also we got some merch that's actually about to get shipped out. You know what I'm saying?
Bagging it up, look, I'm touching it. I'm letting y'all know I'll be touching it sometime. I'm just making sure you know all accounted for. Togo merch, look. Hey, look, if y'all missing out, man. Hey, listen, this about to be historic, man. Look, it don't stop.
It don't stop, man. The grind don't stop, man.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
We're running a couple more years now.
No, for sure, man. So y'all better tap in, man. But listen, we don't want to hold y'all because we got to get busy. We don't want these vehicles to get to moving around too much and know what I'm saying, get too far away. We want to get them while they right here close to us, man. So listen, I ain't gonna hold y'all. Like I always say, around this time.
Elevated too far with the hesitation. They faked I went up and made it. Cody is gonna make a statement on him and ain't no debating. I see no signs of defeat while I'm on this road to greatness.
All right, y'all. So we not too far from the actual destination. We will be pulling up shortly. Probably like another minute or so.
It's 86 degrees.
Oh, definitely 86. It's heating up, getting hotter and hotter.
Man. And the tempers is flared. This is when the tempers flare. This is when the people be the most angry, it seems like, when it's hot outside.
No, for real though.
Just wait, especially if you ain't got no
Cause
AC.
it be hot. It be hot. And they be having their day planned out, and then here we come.
Hey, you ever been wake up in the house with no AC, boy? Oh, hey, the joint, hey, that's the hottest place on earth.
Bruh.
It's like they turn the heat on us. That's crazy. Y'all need to get them boys some air conditioning, man. We need to put a thing on to get them boys some air conditioning, man, because I ain't never been hot like that.
That's it.
That's definitely it.
He's speaking that China.
What are you talking about?
I don't know, but he's speaking that China.
To my people in China, y'all heard that. Y'all heard what he talking about. I don't know what he talking about. But let me go get these wings.
What's up, Dave? Hi, how are you?
I'm doing
No
good.
real what's going on? I just paid that ass. Like, you about to make me cry. This is my dad's truck. Like, what's going on?
It's on the list. He must have took out.
Come on,
Your father reach out to the people.
I'm at work. I'm literally behind you. Got my clients about to see you. You on some don't do that.
Listen, check out.
Don't do that.
No,
Please don't do that.
You got to
Don't
give
do
that paper
that.
to the title loan company.
Don't do that. Please don't,
They say you 3 months late.
No, this is my.
Everything right on the
I'm
paper.
literally about to cry. This is my dad's truck.
We don't want you.
I'm literally my dad's truck.
We don't want you to cry. We don't want you to cry. Just
It's the second time we heard the dad's trouble.
no, don't. Hey, excuse me.
Hey, yo, big, these extra. I got something for y'all. I got something for y'all.
Hey, you look on the paperwork, man, and get everything.
Huh?
Hey, you. This big nigga. Hello?
You can get. Oh, what the fuck? What's this? What's this?
That's my dad's ashes. I want to be a part of this shit. You want to be a part of him? You want to come with him? You want to come
What's
too?
this, bro?
That's dead ashes.
Oh, man, I ain't dead, man.
Miss,
That's a
you
song.
cool?
Oh,
You got dead nigga on you, bro.
oh, man.
You got the dead homies on you, man.
Man, she done messed my ass up, man.
Oh my god.
That's a
Dead
song.
nigga.
Take your
You really just threw ashes on him?
I'll throw something in your
You could call the police on her.
Oh, you big.
That's a song.
I want him to get it off now, but I don't want to touch
Damn, man, this is really dead person on me.
Get your
And we definitely taking this car today. I ain't. I mean, we got to get this motherfucker today. Man, do you see this, bro? It's dead all over me.
Oh my god. Oh, you pat it. Don't pat it, bro. It's going to your mouth. Every time you pat it, it's going to your mouth, bro.
Damn.
Listen. No, okay, time out. Listen.
His vehicle.
Okay, can
this is really serious.
you get out the car and talk to us?
There's no
For 1
need
second.
for you to do that.
Can you get out the car and talk to
my
us?
dad's ashes.
All right,
You
listen.
Be a part of it too.
I know he got it all over. We understand.
You try to take my vehicle.
Me and your daddy is one right now, just to let you know.
Yeah, I don't give a f.
I
You
done
wanna be a
swallowed
part
it.
of it too?
You got me like a cannibal.
You work. You got people looking at me crazy.
I ain't never.
Get shit off my stuff. I don't deserve
I ain't,
that at all.
I ain't never ate a dead person, man.
Get it off my shit. And I got my Bible right here too. I'm praying right now. Y'all better go.
Damn.
Get it off my stuff.
What we gonna do, man?
Call the cops.
Man, we got to get this one, man. This is, hey, bro, we got to get this one
He should be
today.
charged with assault.
Gotta get
We
this
got to
today.
get this one, man.
Are you gonna move this? I'm gonna throw some more on your mother.
Miss.
You got another dead ashes in there? How many dead people you got in here?
What's that? Move it.
Just
Man, we
listen.
sorry, man.
Just come out and talk to us right quick, miss.
Yes,
Come
you
talk.
want some too.
Just come out and talk to us, miss.
Please come
Bless
talk
you
to
too?
me.
No, we
We getting this
don't.
mud today.
Am I allowed to have my vehicle?
Miss.
You ain't gonna get my fucking vehicle? You gonna get my vehicle?
I can't get this.
Listen,
We don't want
my
no
dad's
you.
truck is accident here.
But your dad-
I'm about to take the last thing I have.
Your dad took a title loan out on it, and he didn't
You
pay
about
the
to get something
people.
on you too.
I don't want
I
nothing
don't
on
give
me.
a fuck no more. Like, bro, look, they ain't got nothing
Oh,
to do with it.
man.
I'm still trying to do his best. Y'all right now. Y'all on some man. Just
Oh,
let it go.
man.
Whatever.
Y'all should call the
Dead.
police.
He gave you the paper. Everything's on the paper. Everything's on the paper.
That's assault.
Y'all gonna be
Son.
sitting here. We gonna both be on this together. Y'all not gonna
Dang. Cleveland is a hell of a place, man. Cleveland is a hell of a place.
Miss, cause it gotta come with us.
And unfortunately, once we get it up on the thing, we can't put it back down. Someone look right there. It's on the big thing. Like, I'm sorry, I feel like I'm a part of your dad now. Like, I feel like we family now. I ain't gonna even lie to you. I feel like we family. I really feel like I'm a part of your dad. Your dad is telling me you should let us know this crap. I can't believe I got dead people
Your
on.
little black ass lucky I ain't throw some shit on your mother ass too, huh?
I appreciate it.
Fuck y'all.
Ugh, man, I got dead on me, man. Ugh. Ah. Hey, you been doing our job. Hey,
You cool, man?
yeah, man, I feel like I'm somebody else right now.
I don't know, bruh. You probably gotta go do some of that ritual them bras be doing, man, with what they call it, the sage.
Hey, I definitely need some sage today, man. I can't believe I just ate a man's body, bro. I just ate a whole body.
And then pause.
I just ate a whole body. Oh man, now I feel like Hannibal Lecter.
That's crazy, bruh.
Like Hannibal Lecter.
That's crazy, man.
Oh man.
Man, bruh, I'm sorry.
Man, I ate dead body, man.
You call the cops, man. That's assault.
I really feel like man.
With a hazardous weapon, with hazardous material.
Look at him. See, I don't even know what I'm doing no more. I gotta go to the cleaners, bro. I gotta go straight to the cleaners. Oh man. I done ate dead body, bro. This is crazy, man. Look what she did to me. Oh
Hey,
man.
leave the vest on the back seat, bruh. Just leave it on the back seat, bruh.
Man.
She
I
should have
can't
to pay
believe
for
it, man.
all
Look
that.
how she did my stuff, man.
That's crazy, man. I feel bad for you, bruh.
Man, look at this, man. Look what she did to my vest, bro. I got dead man all over, man, and it smelled like burnt body. It smelled like burnt hair.
That's crazy.
Bro, this smell like burnt hair, bro. Ah, man.
She's tripping, bro. She took it to above and beat. Dang, but we gotta take that straight to the cleaners, man.
Man, I might have to go to the doctor, man.
I think you should put that on the back seat, bro.
waste.
They gotta, man, get this stuff off my stomach, man. I got some dead body in my stomach, man. I done ate a dead man, bro. Oh, man, I can't believe she did me like that, man. It's
Wow.
crazy, bro.
That's crazy. That's most definitely crazy, man.
Damn, man. Had this shit ever happened to you before?
No, that ain't never happened to me.
I didn't even do nothing. I was trying to hook the tires up and she just threw it in my face. Was it in my face too? Oh man, I can't believe I just ate dead body.
That's crazy, bro. That's like literally like I don't even know what to say to you, bro.
Man,
Like, I don't know what to say to you.
I wonder if I can Google that up. What does that do? Like I know there's some type of curse you put on the man or something, man.
She, it's like I don't know.
I think she
Press
just voodoo
charges,
took it, bro.
dude.
I don't feel good.
Y'all should have called the
Voodoo.
cop.
That voodoo on me, man.
Yeah, she hit you with that beat.
Look at this, man, and I swear my body just feel like, I don't know.
Death.
I don't feel like hurt no more.
That's,
I feel like little hurt.
she hit you with the ashes, bro. Who does that?
Man, I don't believe she did.
We about to get this truck back to the spot, bro, and chill for a minute, man.
Oh, man, I got it all in my mouth. Hold on, I might have throw it, bro. Hold on. Oh, shit, man. Oh,
That's
man.
assault, dog.
Damn, I got
You
dead
about to
hair.
make me throw up.
Y'all
I'm
dumb
taking
as hell.
care.
Y'all should have called the police.
So when you get burnt up and you can turn to ashes, you just taste like burnt hair. I just hope it ain't, it could be any type of burnt hair. You know what I'm talking about? I got hair growing on my hands, on my nuts. I just hope it ain't, I just hope it's hair on the head.
Cool, bro.
Hell no, man.
It's a mouthwash in the bathroom, man.
That's crazy. That's assault.
Shit, man. Oh, man.
Damn, bro. I'm sorry that happened to you, bro.
You can't be saying sorry. Call the police, bro.
You need that stove, you take a whole bottle, bro.
Man, that was dumb as shit, man.
Losing it, and she's back. The diabolically dumb and delusional Joy Reid, who sadly was sacked from MSNBC. Even they got sick of her endless race baiting, and that's precisely what Joy is doing again. Listen to this nutty rant about, you guessed it, white people.
They can't fix the history they did. Their ancestors made this country into a slave hell. But they can clean it up now because they got the Smithsonian. They can get rid of all the slavery stuff. They got PragerU. They can lie about the history to the children. They can't originally invent anything more than they ever were able to invent good music. We black folk gave y'all country music, hip hop, R&B, jazz, rock and roll. They couldn't even invent that, but they have to call a white man the king, because they couldn't make rock and roll. So they have to stamp the king on a man whose main song was stolen from an overweight black woman.
Oh, she wasn't done yet. Brace yourself, because Joy is about to turn up the lefty lunacy to new levels. See if you can keep up with this stream of insanity.
When you invent a country where you don't tell white people that they need to innovate, even Elon Musk didn't invent them damn Teslas. 2 other men invented it. He just bought it. And so when you tell them you don't have to be excellent, you just have to be white, you will get mediocrity. You will get mediocrity because they're not asking white people to be great. They're not asking them to be great. They're telling them you can be the opposite of great and be defense secretary. You can be the opposite of great and be Homeland Security Secretary. They're telling white people a lie so that they will believe that they have achieved. when all they're doing is thieving greatness from other people. And I actually think that is a shame for white America, because if you raised your kids that way, you would get brats, you would get monsters, you would get demons you don't even want at Thanksgiving.
Yes, those demonic white children you want to avoid at Thanksgiving. Joy reckons white folk are just thieving, underachieving brats and monsters. Surely she can't get any crazier than that, or more abhorrently racist. But she can and she will. We save the worst for last.
We're raising an America that is mediocre on purpose because we don't want to tell Donald Trump that he is a failure. But he is.
Yeah, that mad cackling really was the cherry on top. But during that unhinged commentary, you may have noted the dude listening intently. Now, if you were hoping he was going to inject some sanity, some facts, some sober analysis to refute Mad Bad Joy, well, you'll be disappointed. Let's hear from Mr. Ali.
How this is happening in real time and how this has always happened, how the fragility of a mediocre, terrified white men is destroying America, and how they have to make a level playing field for themselves. And it's all projection all the time. Like I just said right now, safe spaces for them, none for us.
Now, there is so much I can say about that would get me into enormous trouble, so I won't. But I think it's worth noting that the people of the world, whatever nationality or colour they may be, want to live in the West. We're not seeing Pakistan flooded with white people escaping mediocrity. That dude's parents came from Pakistan to America so he could have a better life. A little gratitude would go a long way. Now, someone who has had a charmed life is John F. Kennedy's grandson, Jack Schlossberg. But sadly, despite being a highly privileged member of the Kennedy clan, he is a tedious, afflicted clown. Here he mocks First Lady Melania Trump. This is embarrassing, folks.
A simple yet profound concept, Mr. Putin, as I'm sure you agree, is that each generation descendant begin their life with a purity, an innocence, which stands above geography, government, and ideology. What am I saying? This makes no sense. Please be more specific, Miss Melania Trump.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what he's doing there either. It's not funny, that's all. If it was funny, I'd forgive it. Now, let's have a look at how President Trump's tough-on-crime approach is polling in the US. The Democrats and the media are appalled. We are seeing meltdowns on CNN, MSNBC. Got protests in the streets, but it seems most Americans actually prefer less crime. Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, I think that Democrats have to get it around their heads that Americans are far more hawkish on crime than they think that they are. What are we talking about? Trump's net approval handling crime. Where was he last year? He was way underwater at minus 13 points views of term number one. But look at where he is now. He's on the positive side of the ledger. He's on the positive side at plus 1 point. Americans view Trump far more favorably now on crime than they did a year ago. I think this sort of gives the game away here because Donald Trump is like Air Jordan towering over Joe Biden when it comes to their handling of crime. Look, in 2024, look at where Biden's net approval was on crime. Way underwater there at minus 26 points. It was one of Biden's worst issues. Granted, pretty much every issue was one of Biden's worst issues. And again, look at where Donald Trump is. Way, way, way above Joe Biden. What is that? That's 27 points. So Americans vastly prefer Donald Trump's approach to crime than they did to Joe Biden.
Now, earlier today, Donald Trump met with a number of European allies to discuss an end to the Russian-Ukrainian war. Now, there's not much that's funny about that, but this next clip is a work of comedic genius. I know it's not real, but I like to pretend it is.
Okay, let's see who arrives now. This guy, they say he's the president of Finland, looking like the captain of a cruise ship. We need to get him a captain's hat later on. Okay, who the is this guy? These Europeans all look like accountants. Yes, sir. I come to do your taxes. Okay, thank you, sir. Ah, the British Prime Minister. They say this guy is gay. I don't know if that's true or not. I just think he's a dork. Hey, this guy is definitely gay, and his wife is a man, and she beats him. Well. Poor guy. Huh? Georgia Maloney. I love her. I told her and Elon that if they ever have a kid, they better name him Eloni Maloney. Ursula. I like that she calls me daddy. They all should when you think about it. Good day. I come to see my American daddy.
Joining me now is filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Now, we'll get to the serious discussion about today's peace talks shortly. But first, there's a new sheriff in town and she's called Janine, Judge Janine, and she ain't messing around. If you're some deranged Karen and think you're going to get away with threatening to kill the president, then Judge Janine is coming for you.
Just wanted to let you know here from the United States Attorney's Office in D.C. that an individual by the name of Nathalie Rose Jones is now in custody, charged with 2 federal crimes for knowingly and willfully threatening to take the life of the President of the United States. She did come from New York to Washington, D.C. Her threats were on Facebook and Instagram, and she continued to call the president a terrorist.
I'm all about the First Amendment, but threats of violence, threatening to kill the president, well, that's not protected speech.
No, it sure isn't. Never has been, unless you are threatening to attack Jews under a Democratic administration. Otherwise, no. Look, how serious can we take her threats? I don't know. She made the first announcement on Facebook. Doesn't sound that serious to me. And she also said she had the ability to get a hold of a bladed object. Does she mean a knife? Yeah, that doesn't seem too hard to get your hands on. So yeah, could get a cookie for that. Look, this is example number 456 of why the left loves to use violence, right? I mean, they have a propensity, a lust for violence in general. We've seen it over the years, over and over again, but also in particular, political violence, right? They always like to blame Trump, that he tries to drum up political violence in January 6th. Yeah, but you know what? It's the left. It's the Bernie Sanders supporters who try to shoot up or did shoot up a congressional baseball game, right? It was the left who sent somebody to kill a Supreme Court justice in his home, Brett Kavanaugh's home. And of course, it was the left who tried to assassinate Donald Trump, not once, but twice. There were no assassins that tried to kill Joe Biden. Well, I guess unless you include nature.
Oh, it's too soon for that joke, but it's very funny. And yeah, you're forgetting also, obviously, the Summer of Love, the $2 billion worth of damage and the 24 people who were killed in the BLM riots across the country. That was left-wing violence. We've got Antifa. So yeah, it has become all too common. Now let's go to less serious matters. Far-left network MSNBC has been widely mocked today for changing their name. They're now going to be called MS Now, which stands for My Source News Opinion World. But social media users had other names, so they called it Majorly Skewed News Overly Woke, Most Surely No One Watching. They were both popular on X, as well as BS Now instead of MS Now. I mean, why the rebrand? Why are they going down this road?
Yeah, it sounds like Ms. Now, like some kind of feminist version of Mr. Right Now. I don't know. It just sounds very bizarre. The branding just kind of sucks. Look, it reminds me of when the WNBA about 12 years ago decided to change the color of its ball from traditional brown leather to, gag me, oatmeal and orange, thinking that maybe the thought process was that will help the ball get in the basket more. It didn't. Spoiler alert. It sounds like MSNBC is doing that they hope that they will get better ratings. Rita, I don't think I have to point out to you that your show on YouTube gets many more views than Rachel Maddow's show on YouTube, right? The most popular show on MSNBC. Not to mention that Fox News has 3 times the audience as MSNBC, both in prime time and throughout the day. So they're trying to grab something to change the dynamics here because they haven't been working in the past. Now, that's the real reason. The official reason is that, well, Comcast, the parent company of NBC Universal, is spinning off its cable assets into a separate entity, public entity called Versant, also a stupid name, because they're trying to gather as much value as they can from a declining asset. That asset is linear. You have a message. And also they want to make a distinction because MSNBC and NBC News are no longer sharing news gathering and no longer sharing assets. So that's the official reason. What's the real reason? You decide.
Now, earlier today, President Trump met with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky and European allies at the White House to discuss an end to the Russian-Ukrainian war. And Italian Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni praised President Trump for his leadership, noting something has changed.
Something has changed thanks to you, thanks also to the stalling in the battlefield, which was achieved with the bravery of Ukrainians and with the unity that we all provided to Ukraine.
But the Italian Prime Minister could barely hide her contempt for the German Chancellor. Just watch this, watch her eyes.
And let's try to put pressure on Russia, because the credibility of these efforts we are undertaking today are depending on at least a ceasefire from the beginning of the serious negotiations from next step on. So I would like to emphasize this.
Army, these talks came after President Trump's Alaska summit with Russian President Vladimir Putin 3 days ago. How do you see these latest developments?
Yeah, no, Melani's right. A lot has changed. President Trump has done more in 200 days than Joe Biden did in 4 years. Despite that, you see how the media has been framing this, right? They've been framing this as failure after failure, capitulation to Putin. All the mainstream media has kind of gone after Trump as saying he's not getting the job done, when clearly everyone on the ground who's involved is saying quite the opposite. Look, what Trump did was this is what he does, right? He's a negotiator. He pivoted. So initially, the way he was going into these discussions was he was going to go for a ceasefire, and he was leaning towards that versus security guarantees. Then when he started talking to Putin, he saw an opportunity that Putin seemed to be more open to security guarantees than he was to a ceasefire. And look, that's why he's been going after security guarantees. I get why Ukraine values that very, very highly. And the reason why they do, I get it, is because when they were coming out of the break of the Soviet Union, there was something called the Budapest Memorandum. Something that I don't think we've talked about enough. It was the West, the United States and Europe, gave to Ukraine an assurance of national sovereignty. If you give up your nuclear weapons, we will make sure that your borders will stay secure against the predation of Russia. And of course, we just blew that off. And when Russia rolled in, Europeans did nothing, essentially. And under democratic administrations, they did nothing. So I understand why Ukrainians are looking and want that specifically. And that's what Trump is trying to offer them. But at the same time, look, I want to make sure we should be very careful about security guarantees and what they are. Because I don't want to have, I'm a huge supporter of NATO. I don't want them in NATO. I'm sorry, huge supporter of Ukraine. I don't want them in NATO and have an Article 5 type protection, because we don't know what Ukraine could be like several years from now. Just to point out a couple things. In 2004, Ukraine was pro-Russian, right? And then in 2010, they switched, became pro-Western. 2014, back to pro-Russian, and now they're pro-Western. So look, we have to be careful because we don't know what Ukraine will be for.
So
is I stop
lies. No one's been lied about more than Pam Bondi. She's incredible. You've been lied to saying that she's a hack. Now, a lot of those people have left my audience. They want to keep being lied to by other channels. Fine, go. Welcome to Doug in Exile. This is where the happy patriots are. Shout out to the Quad Club, the people that watch 4 videos a day. You guys really help keep the lights on. You're why I don't read my own ads like some people do. I get plenty just by you guys watching, sharing this show, and liking and leaving a comment in the comments below. And you guys are giving this channel highest ratings. I can tell when they send out the surveys. Thank you for giving us high ratings. Let's get to Pam Bondi. I will make my case. If you're not convinced yet, give me a chance, because I think I can convince you. We've got great news coming from her. She's really doing Trump's work. Here's the story at NBC News. The Trump ally fighting for criminal investigations of Obama, Biden, and Clinton for years. Mike Davis called for probes into what he calls the greatest conspiracy in American history. New investigations approved by Attorney General Pam Bondi have raised his hopes. Now, those of you who don't know Mike Davis, you haven't been watching the show, because this is one of the main guys that I quote all the time. Here he is saying, lawyer up, lawfare Democrats, justice is coming. Nobody is above the law. He says Obama, Biden, and Clinton criminal investigations are most likely approaching, says Mike Johnson. Why? Because it was Pam Bondi, as this headline says, that raised his hopes. Let's go here. For 3 years, Mike Davis, a Republican lawyer and former legal counsel of Senator Chuck Grassley, Republican, Iowa, and he clerked for Justice Gorsuch, has pushed for federal criminal investigations of Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, Joe Biden, and senior FBI, CIA, and Justice Department officials. He's on the front edge of all these investigations. Now, a series of recent investigations approved by Attorney General Pam Bondi, they couldn't have happened without her approval, suggests to Davis that his long-sought goal is most likely approaching. See, Mike Davis has always been there doing the work, but he didn't have the authority. He needed someone like Pam Bondi in authority to do it. Bondi this month approved 2 federal criminal investigations of New York attorney Letitia James. That's number 1. That's to be one of the big ones. And on Senator Adam Schiff, Democrat of California, Bondi has instructed an unnamed federal prosecutor to begin a grand jury investigation of whether Obama administration officials committed federal crimes when they assessed Russia's actions during the 2016 election. Between Pam Bondi and Mike Davis, they could take all of this down. Barack Obama, Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton, they're all tied to it. Bondi's order came weeks after National Intelligence Director Tulsi Gabbard accused Obama and his aides of a treasonous conspiracy and said she had sent a criminal referral to the Justice Department. Davis applauded Bondi's actions in a recent interview. This is the greatest conspiracy in American history, he said. What he said is the Democrat plots against President Trump. There must be the most severe legal, political, and financial consequences for this unprecedented weaponization. This must never happen again. Bondi's office in the White House did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Obama, Biden, Clinton, and former FBI, Justice Department, CIA officials have repeatedly dismissed the allegations. Democrats say the new probes are an effort to distract attention from allegations that Trump has abused his power in his second term from his failure to release the Jeffrey Epstein files. And because I'm not here to terrify you or get you anger or have you go off on a wild goose chase, notice the Democrats bring up the Jeffrey Epstein files, which I only tell you about this because of the news. It's worthy to let you know what the Democrat trick is. They want you focused on Jeffrey Epstein. I think it's a huge waste of time and resources. I want to get to the bottom of it. I'm fine with it. I want the truth to come out. I'm fine with that too. I want arrests made if they need to be made. But this is the real stuff, is what Pam Bondi is working on. Mike Davis. Now, this is responding to a New Yorker hit piece on Pam Bondi where they say Pam Bondi's power play. You know, they're wussing out about her. Mike Davis says, quote, now listen to this carefully, because this establishes her as the queen of all these investigations. On our side, Trump's right-hand woman. I said the same thing about Mike Johnson, by the way. I'm not as stalwart of a fan of Mike Johnson as I am of Pam Bondi, because he is a senator, so you got to get a little swampy over there. Mike Johnson says no Republican attorney general has been more effective so quickly as Pam Bondi. Now, I started reporting on her months ago, and everyone started jumping me going, she's a sellout, she's this, no, you're wrong. Mike Davis works very close with her and knows the truth. She's not going anywhere, and she shouldn't go anywhere. Here's Trump at the Oval Office on these investigations, asked by a reporter.
A team sport to push.
His sound's a little low.
It might need them to compromise on their normal modalities. What's your reaction to the latest declassification? And in your view, sir, what does real accountability look like for the players
It's
involved?
incredible what we're finding. Absolute proof of guilt. And we'll see what happens. But Clapper and Comey and that whole group of criminals, and they made it very tough. You know, they did the fake Russia witch hunt that lasted for 2 years. And I got totally exonerated. There was no doubt about it. They should have done it in 1 day, not 2 years. But it was a whole scheme to try and demean Trump so that I couldn't win an election. And that is a criminal group of people. They're sick people, and they're criminals, and they should be taken care of.
They're going to be taken care of by our legal system. Here's Byron Donalds on the same issue.
Will the Oversight Committee look into Schiff and other Democrats for leaking to the press during the 2016 Russia hoax?
We absolutely should, and it shouldn't just be House oversight. It should also be House intel, because what Chief Meadows was saying is stories that I've heard in my time on Capitol Hill, that Adam Schiff primarily and others would read something in the skiff, go out to the cameras, and either tell it to the press or leak it to the press so he could get asked questions. It is undermining the intelligence gathering apparatus, and it also demonstrates the manipulation that the Democrats were engaged in top to bottom, in my view. I'm not just talking about Hillary. I'm talking about the DNC, the White House, members of Congress. It was a top to bottom way of undermining the intelligence gathering operation in order to undermine President Trump during his first term. So it needs to fully be investigated. And yeah, he's a member of the Senate now, but that doesn't matter. Leaking classified information is illegal. No member of Congress is allowed to do that.
It is a top to bottom corruption. Byron Donalds calling out every level of government. Meanwhile, here's Bill Barr getting questioned on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Pam Bondi.
What's the message that you have for the committee today?
That's Bill Barr right there in the middle with the blue tie. Backstab Trump.
Justice for Americans about everything about Jeffrey Epstein?
They're bringing him in for questioning about Epstein. Total distraction. Here's Comer on their questioning of Bill Barr. He said he's complying.
We're having really good conversations. You have to understand you can imagine how many documents there are. I think that we're going to have I think we'll receive the documents very soon. They're compiling everything together. I think we're working together in a good faith effort, and everything's coming along. I expect to receive the documents very, very soon.
He'll be getting documents. That'll be more news. This is a distraction. What's my proof? Here, how many of you agree with Jessica Tarloff? She says, where are the Epstein files? Jessica Tarloff on Twitter just a couple minutes ago. This is when Trump announced that he was going to end mail-in ballots. Biggest announcement about addressing that part of election history is he wants to remove the machines, do paper ballots, remove mail-ins. Here's Republicans against Trump. Trump says he plans to lead a government to get rid of mail-in ballots in the U.S. elections, falsely claiming that only the U.S. uses them. And Jessica Tarloff says, where are the Epstein files? Now, you're supposed to be like Pavlov's dog. Remember the bell rings and he starts to slobber when food's around? Jessica Tarloff thinks she just mentioned that, and you guys are all off track. Get off Pam Bondi. What about Epstein? Slobber, ding, slobber, slobber, slobber. Jessica Tarloff. It doesn't work on us, my audience. I'm spraying you guys in Teflon from.
honestly,
I got NFL action. I've got the President of the United States and the President of Russia, the quote-unquote summit that has everybody in an uproar to get to. Plus, Zelensky from Ukraine is showing up at the White House. Stephen A. Smith show in the house. Let's go. The Stephen A. Smith Show coming at you as I love to do. I know it's usually 3 times a week, but I've been on vacation for a little while. Been back at ESPN. Got a lot of stuff to do. Got a new studio that I'm moving into. Got work that I'm percolating for, getting revved up for on SiriusXM, debuting September 2nd. Not to mention a political show that's going to start September 17th. So I've got a lot of stuff going on. But I had a lot of stuff on my mind this particular day, and I couldn't wait to come on my channel, on my show, to tell y'all about this and to talk about this stuff, all right? So let's just get right to it, and we're going to get started with some sports first before I get into the politics. We're going to go to Cleveland, Ohio, okay? In Cleveland, where the NFL's most talked about, if not most consequential quarterback race is heating up. Dillon Gabriel, who the Browns drafted in the 3rd round out of Oregon before later skipped taking Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado in the 5th round, made headlines with some comments he had made while being interviewed on the sideline during his preseason debut. Here's the exchange between Mr. Dillon Gabriel and, of course, this reporter, Aditi Kinkhabwala. The reporter says to Dillon Gabriel, as you can see, you gave us some fabulous wisdom on how you tune out the noise and don't let it infiltrate yourself. Will you share that with everybody at home? Dillon Gabriel: yeah, it's just part of it. You know, there's entertainers and there's competitors, and I totally understand that. But my job is to compete, and that's what I'm focused on. Upon hearing this, social media immediately took this as a shot at teammate Shedeur Sanders, he being the quote-unquote entertainer in the equation as opposed to the quote-unquote competitor. This led Dillon Gabriel to revisit his comments to clarify, saying he in fact meant the entertainers were the media. Here's what he said, quote, "I'm all about my team and each other, but for me, I've explained it. Entertainers are you all. A competitor, that's what I am, along with all my teammates. We both have jobs to do." End quote. Of course, Dillon Gabriel finished his college career at Oregon, all right, where a year earlier, head coach Dan Lanning did not mince words with his team ahead of their 2023 matchup with Shedeur Sanders in Colorado, where he had this to say, maybe indicating a culture of naysayers in Eugene about the Buffs. Eugene, Oregon, that is, about the Buffs. Quote, "The Cinderella story is over, men. They're fighting for clicks. We're fighting for wins. There's a difference. This game ain't going to be played in Hollywood. It's going to be played on the grass." End quote. Oregon went on to win that game 42-6, which I watched from start to finish. Colorado got blitzed. No doubt Oregon whipped their ass. But it is important to note Dillon Gabriel was not the Ducks quarterback in the matchup. As for the scene now in Cleveland, Gabriel and Sanders have both seen action in one preseason game so far. Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski is expected to name a starter in the next week. The depth chart will also be of interest, and it is almost certain that the team will not carry 4 quarterbacks on the roster, meaning one of Gabriel, Sanders, Joe Flacco, and Kenny Pickett will likely be released or traded. End quote. I don't believe that last one. I believe that the Browns are one of the rare teams in the NFL that's going to carry 4 quarterbacks, because I think they're looking at Joe Flacco as a safety net. You know, he's 40 years old. He's a veteran. He's a Super Bowl champion. He just took them to the playoffs a couple of years ago, and boom, you know what? They know that he can come in, whether as a starter or as a reserve, and help assuage concerns and fix what's broken to some degree. That's number one. So I think when you look at the future, although he's not that, having that guy, Joe Flacco, in the lineup, working with QB1s, by the way, working as the QB1 with starters, that is. I mean, you're talking about a situation where you're fighting for the QB2 spot, which is Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel and Kenny Pickett to a lesser degree. Kenny Pickett, as far as I'm concerned, is a career backup. He's already had his opportunities to start in Pittsburgh, didn't pan out so well. Obviously, he was a backup in Philadelphia. We know what that's about. Now here he is in Cleveland. I think he's a perennial backup. I think when you're looking at a starter for the future, you're talking about Shedeur Sanders or Dillon Gabriel. That's what you're talking about here. Let me say this. In defense of Dillon Gabriel, I totally believe him. I totally believe he was not talking about Shedeur Sanders. I totally believe that he was talking about the media. Shedeur Sanders is his teammate. Shedeur Sanders is competing. Shedeur Sanders did go out there in the first preseason games against Carolina and performed pretty damn well. The only reason he didn't play this past weekend against the Eagles had the oblique injury. We get all of that. But he played pretty damn well. And in some people's eyes, most people's eyes, he played better than Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel had a good game, 6 for 6 on third downs, under pressure, in the pocket, was throwing the ball, showed himself to have composure, etc., etc. You know, the brother played well for the most part. But he did have a pick 6. He did have a fumble the snap. Those things are true. Shedeur Sanders had a better outing than Dillon Gabriel, even though Dillon Gabriel's outing was not that bad at all. With that being said, clearly, he wasn't talking about Shedeur Sanders. For anybody that's thinking about that, they reach it. Having said all of that, that doesn't make Dillon Gabriel any less of an idiot on this particular day. Just today. I'm not calling him that as a person. I'm not calling him, not character assassinating him. I'm saying that comment was idiotic. Because now you've made yourself a target for the media. Fuck you think you're doing, talking about the media. You haven't earned the right to talk about the media yet. You haven't. Now, the second you go out there and you suck for any reason, the media is going to be all over you. Because you antagonize them unnecessarily. Why would you do that? And by the way, in a capitalistic society, I got news. Competition isn't restricted to the field of play or the court. Competition is everywhere in a capitalistic society. Some would argue it's everywhere globally. Everybody's competing. Everybody. Wall Street, Madison Avenue, the media. It doesn't matter. Corporate America, whatever you choose, everybody's in competition. You know why? Because the victors go to spoils. Everybody don't get to have. Everybody don't get to have. Everybody is vying for their own individual position. Everybody is looking to get paid. Everybody is looking to have their value elevated so they can elevate their quality of life. Everybody. That's how it goes. So for you to sit up there and say, just because you can throw a football and you out on the football field, that you're a competitor, but other folks are entertainers, well, guess what? Isn't there competition in entertainment? Aren't actors and actresses entertainers? Don't they compete at the box office? Don't they compete for cachet? Have you ever heard of an audition, Dillon Gabriel? You think that's just confined to football players or professional athletes? Or even collegiate athletes or high school athletes? You think it's just confined to athletics? You don't know that competition exists every damn where? That's just a dumb, idiotic, entitled statement. Like football is all that matters. You in the NFL, bro. Why don't you go back to the days of COVID? You want to play in front of empty stands? How exciting would that be? You want to play when nobody's watching? You want to play for free? Huh? That's just not smart. I'm not calling you an idiot. I want to be very, very clear about that. I don't know you, respect the hell out of you. You're in the National Football League, vying to be a starting quarterback. You deserve respect. But you need to understand that your comments was disrespectful. We're not disrespecting you. We're commenting to you disrespecting us. Competition exists everywhere. And it just ain't with your arms or with your legs. It's also with your mind, with your heart, with your intestinal fortitude, with your work ethic, with your willingness to go out there in your chosen profession and compete to be the best at what you do. Who the hell are you to diminish anybody? You played for a great coach in Dan Lanning. He ain't playing, he's coaching. Ain't he competing against other coaches? Grow up, bro. Grow up. You're a third-round pick. And now you brought the eye of the storm down upon you because you got some people out there looking at you and thinking you were talking about Shedeur Sanders. You got others who will lean on race because they knew if Shedeur Sanders had said that, he would have been castigated and vilified. So they're saying, why ain't you getting that heat? And last but not least, if it ain't those people, it's people like me who's sitting here saying to you, yeah, we know you weren't talking about Shedeur Sanders, bro. But did you have to say that about the media? You have any idea how disrespectful that was? And totally unnecessary? A reporter comes up to you and asks you a question, and what was the question that the reporter asked? You gave us some fabulous wisdom on how you tune out the noise and don't let it infiltrate yourself. Will you share that with everybody at home? And that was your response? That was your response? There's competitors and there's entertainers. My job is to compete. That's what I'm focused on, really. Good luck, bro. Hope you can play under duress and adversity. Because it's coming your way after those comments. It's coming your way. Coming up, Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin met in Alaska a few days ago. You all understand what it is. That's what we're talking about here. And the reason that we're talking about those primary and secondary sanctions, because if you are Russia, you got more resources and more manpower than Ukraine. And the only way to get rid of it, to eradicate that advantage that they have, is through sanctions, weapons, and funds. Giving Ukraine more weapons, giving them more funding to help them continue to fight, and on top of it all, imposing sanctions. Now, from my research, I'm told that the only folks who've had sanctions against them right now by the United States is India. They're the only country that's been officially sanctioned via secondary tariffs tied to buying Russian oil. That's about it. We're still looking for more. And the reality is that based on what we're talking about here, Russia's looking pretty right now. Vladimir Putin had a photo op. He was on U.S. soil. He looks like a diplomat and a statesman instead of a tyrant murdering people, which is how he's been depicted by a lot of people here, a lot of politicians here in the United States of America and the world over. And I told y'all months ago, let's understand what this is all about. This is all about him reclaiming most of Europe, which Russia once had before his dissolution in like 1991. This is what they're after. This is what he's after. And that's where, if Trump was smart, and I'm not saying he's not or whatever, because he's shrewd as hell, but in this particular instance, if the president of the United States wanted to be a bit more skillful, a bit more shrewd, instead of truculent and disrespectful, maybe, just maybe, he would try a new strategy. And you know what that strategy could easily be, ladies and gentlemen? Bring up Bill Clinton. That's how. Now, what the hell am I talking about? I'm talking about the person that put Ukraine at a disadvantage. That's who I'm talking about. But what Trump doesn't want to, the reason why he might not want to do that is because it highlights the culpability that belongs to the United States of America as to why Ukraine is in the position they're in right now. That's what we're talking about here. You don't know what I'm talking about? Let me give you some history. The USSR, Russia, dissolved in 1991. Ukraine suddenly found itself with about 1,900 strategic nuclear warheads on its territory. I'm telling you my research. The third largest arsenal in the world behind Russia and the United States of America. The weapons were still under Russian operational control, of course, and Ukraine lacked the full command infrastructure to use them independently. I'm reading from my notes. I got researchers for this stuff. It ain't me, damn it. Okay? Bill Clinton's administration worked with Russia and the UK, negotiated with Ukraine to ensure those warheads were given up. This culminated in the 1994 Budapest Memorandum on Security Assurances signed by the Ukraine, by the United States, by Russia, and by the UK. Clinton personally visited Kiev in January 1994 to urge Ukraine's president, Leonid Kravchuk, to accept the agreement. He emphasized U.S. financial support, security assurances, and integration into the global system as incentives. I'm going to repeat that last part so you get it. You get it? You get it? He emphasized U.S. financial support, security assurances, and integration into the global system as incentives. Ukraine agreed to transfer its nuclear warheads to Russia for dismantlement and to join the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty as a non-nuclear state. In exchange, the United States, Russia, and the UK pledged to respect Ukraine's sovereignty and territorial integrity and not to use force against it. By 1996, 2 years later, Ukraine had transferred all nuclear warheads to Russia. Critics now point to the Budapest Memorandum as a broken promise, one of many by Vladimir Putin, by the way, since Russia violated it with the annexation of Crimea in 2014. All right? When Obama was in his second term. And Obama did close to nothing about it. And the full-scale invasion arrived in 2022 under Biden. So yeah, Clinton, as in Bill Clinton, you know, Mr. Crime Bill, Mr. leading to the proliferation of blacks being incarcerated. Remember that Bill Clinton that ultimately apologized for it in 2015 when his wife was running for the presidency? Remember that guy? That's what happened, okay? So, Ukraine gained independence in 1991. And yes, there should have been a safety net. But it was violated by Vladimir Putin. So if you're Zelensky, what are you to feel? Who's at the White House right now with European leaders? If you're Zelensky, how are you to feel after being embarrassed and set up months ago when the president and Vice President J.D. Vance was getting on them because you didn't say thank you? You should be saying thank you, according to Vice President J.D. Vance. How is he supposed to feel when you have this meeting with Putin without him in attendance? You're claiming that a ceasefire needs to happen, but there is no ceasefire. You're in pursuit of a peace agreement with all of these pledges and these promises, but nothing to hold them to it. And you got a guy who American politicians are on the record saying breaks promise after promise after promise. How is America supposed to feel at this particular moment in time? I want to know. Inquiring minds want to know. At some point in time, and I'm not rooting against our president, I'm rooting for him. With stuff like this, if Iran is a threat to Israel, which it obviously was, I don't have no problem bombing them. If somebody's a threat to America, I don't have no problem dealing with them. Hamas invaded Israel, get their asses. Find a way not to engage in innocent women and children being slaughtered along the way, but get their asses, absolutely. But that don't make everything you do right, Mr. President. You got to get a deal done. Not pledges, not promises. You got to get stuff in writing, and you got to have force behind them. Strength through force. Sanctions. Weaponry to Ukraine. European nations getting involved and adding some manpower. Them coming out of pocket to spend. They got money. It can't just be us. I'm all for that. But all of these things matters. Now they're getting back to Trump and his claims to have settled 6 wars. We all know that's an exaggeration. But here's the 6 he's referring to. Israel and Iran, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Rwanda, Cambodia and Thailand, India and Pakistan, Serbia and Kosovo, Egypt and Ethiopia. According to my research, he's not totally wrong. But Politico Facts verdict, Trump's claim is rated barely true because while there was some temporary ceasefires or diplomatic interventions, these did not equate to full war endings. So once again, embellishment and exaggeration have come with his proclamations or his claims. See, these are all things we got to watch out for. But having said all of that, we still shouldn't be rooting against them. Having said all of that, we still should be rooting that these things reach fruition and that these pledges and these promises and these ceasefires are long lasting. We shouldn't be rooting against the damn president of the United States. But there's nothing wrong with calling him out if what he's saying ain't true. But I'm going to go back to one thing that I'm going to say in President Trump's favor. What we're not going to do, because we fear here on the Stephen A. Smith Show, is look at him and say, oh, excuse me, he's the cause for the war. He's the cause for Russia-Ukraine. You don't have to engage in bravado, Mr. President, sticking your chest out like you accomplished something just because Vladimir Putin echoed your sentiments that this war would have never happened if Trump was in office and never departed from 2020 to 2024. That's not the issue. What you should be saying is, yo, I didn't start this. I didn't put Ukraine at the incredible disadvantage that it was at. I didn't ask them to get rid of all of their nuclear warheads. I didn't ask them to give it and return it back to Russia. I didn't make this deal with them. Clinton did. He's the one that disarmed them. He's the one that weakened Ukraine. He's the one that made promises to them that have been unkept by administrations to follow. Which, by the way, is Obama to some degree, because if Clinton made that promise and that commitment, and then 20 years or so later, Obama is in office, and that's when Russia invades and takes over Crimea, and we do little to nothing about it, even though they're in clear, stark violation of what was promised by them to the Clinton administration, to the UK, in the Budapest Memorandum, then what the hell is up? That ain't on Trump. That's on them. And this is why we got to be honest. As American citizens, if we know the facts, damn it, if you don't know, you don't know. Everybody ain't got time to know this stuff. Hell, I barely got time to know. I just got researchers. But you got to know something. And if you know it, you got to have the courage to call it out. So what Trump is doing right now is not ideal. Damn it, I don't think it's that impressive. I think it's a bunch of pomp and circumstance. But we ain't going to act like he caused this now. It's Democrats in office. It was Biden in office when a full-fledged war against Ukraine took place, courtesy of Russia's instigation, no matter what they try to say to Trump. It was Russia that invaded Crimea, and that was under the Obama administration. It was Clinton in office when you made a deal that disarmed the Ukraine and therefore weakened them, leaving them dependent on the United States. And now, here they are, having to beg for support that they're owed because of what we promised them as a nation. We promised them this. You owe it to the Ukrainians. You absolutely do. I'm not saying I like it. I'm not saying I like spending billions of our taxpayer dollars to them. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is promises made are supposed to be promises kept. You promised them. America. You can't talk to them. And they've been bombed by Russia. They've been attacked. They've been assaulted. Their territory and sovereignty has been threatened. They're the ones who've lost 15 to 20% of their territory through no instigation of their own. And you talking to them like they the villains or they're on an equal playing field of Russia. Nah. Do we really, really want to concede more territory, putting Russia right in parts of Ukraine that puts them in the backyard to take them over even more easily, thereby gaining more territory and more of a stranglehold on different parts of this nation when you know that Vladimir Putin's desire is to reclaim Europe? Come on now. Come on now. And it's because of this. It's because of this reality right now that I'm about to say something that I never ever thought I'd say sitting in this chair. Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, has a chance to win the presidency. I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. I never ever thought those words would come out of my mouth. Not with the shit I see going on in Los Angeles and the state of California. But we're now getting to a point where people are picking apart the Trump presidency. And there are positives that people, haters, don't want to recognize. I'm not going to be that way. But there are negatives that are undeniable. And don't get me started as a black person with some of the things that I see him doing in an effort to appease a bunch of white folks out there. He might not be some white nationalist or somebody who doesn't give a damn about black people, but a lot of them are. I'm not talking about most, I'm not talking about all. I don't view white and black folks and everything like that way. Individuals based on the content of their character. I flow with that. But when you see some of the things that have been transpiring under the Trump administration, it has not been pleasant to see. It's that simple. And we just have to be honest about that. And in the process of being honest about that, we got to call it like we see it. Right now, Donald Trump's approval rating. Gallup polls, July 2025, 37% approval, the lowest of his second term. Pew Research, August of 2025, which we're still in, 38% approval with 60% disapproval. Reuters/Ipsos, July 2025 poll, 40% approval, also marking a low point. Approximate range is 37 to 40% approval. Meanwhile, Gavin Newsom's PPIC, February 2025, 52% of Californians approve of his job performance. 55% among likely voters. UC, University of California, Irvine, after the clash with Trump over the National Guards and the Marines coming into the city of Los Angeles. Remember all of that? July of 2025, his approval rating jumped from 38% to 56% approval. Typical range, 52 to 56% approval in state polls. Why is this relevant? Because you're talking about somebody, let's call it what it is. Say this about Gavin Newsom. The brother looks presidential. I mean, listen, you know, I don't look at men that way. That's just not my flavor. But the brother does look good in the blue suit. I mean, he looks very presidential. He really, really does. Hair slicked back. Pat Riley might be jealous. Good looking dude. Excellent speaker. Can articulate his thoughts clearly, highly intelligent. Knows the issues. Knows how to fight. And is willing to take on Trump. Now, Trump ain't who he's going up against. That's why I think he's got a chance. See, I don't think he could beat Trump. But unless the 22nd Amendment of the Constitution is circumvented and Donald Trump is allowed to run for a third term, okay, then he ain't going against Donald Trump. He's going against J.D. Vance, who has been rendered relatively impotent, like most vice presidents are. Marco Rubio, I mean, he's a very powerful and influential individual, smart as hell. Our Secretary of State, obviously overseeing our national security. Marco Rubio is no joke, but does he really galvanize a base? I don't know that. So with Trump here, your biggest hope is Trump to maintain his level of influence, and then all of a sudden here he is talking about, y'all vote for this guy because we don't want somebody like Gavin Newsom or Gavin Newscum, because that's what he calls Gavin Newsom, Gavin Newscum. We don't want him in office, and maybe he could galvanize the base, but that's not the point. The point is, can Gavin Newsom get people to come out for the polls? Because everybody don't live in California. It might be the largest populated state in the country, but everybody don't live in California. So the point is, outside of California, what will they really know? What will they really fear? And can he get people to the polls? And oh, by the way, even if they do show you things to fear about Gavin Newsom, okay, still and all, if you're so turned off by Trump, where will that leave you? Where will that leave you? So you got to think about that. Now let's get to some of these issues. Because if you're Trump, some of the positives in a lot of people's eyes, according to the conservatives, executive orders and deregulation, immigration and the border. Remember, legal border crossings have fallen nearly 90% since December of 2024. Marking one of his most prominent campaign promises, realized foreign policy moves, NATO members to raise defense spending to 5% of GDP. That was a milestone long considered unlikely. Okay, you got to pay attention to that. In mid-2025, his administration reportedly curtailed Iran's nuclear program and brokered a ceasefire between Israel and Iran. Got to give him credit for that. Political base loyalty, even though beyond the Republican Party, when you go to centrist rather, and obviously the liberal left, you eradicate them and just focus on his core Republican support. It remains relatively high as of this month. Around 85% of Republicans continue to approve of Trump's performance. So he's got his base on lock. But here are the criticisms about him. Authoritarian drift and eroded institutions. We know all about that. Partisan Justice Department overhaul under AG Pam Bondi. The Justice Department was accused of political purges, sidelining dissenters, and weaponizing legal institutions in favor of Trump-aligned officials. Of course, there's a federal takeover of local police forces. You saw what happened in California. You see what's happening in Washington, D.C. He's getting criticized for that. Economic instability and market volatility from tariffs, because it's up and down, up and down, up and down. We hear all of these pledges, 15 trillion and counting. Pledges ain't reality, y'all. They're promises. When are they going to be kept? We don't know if that's true or not. We got to hope that's true. Pledges don't mean a damn thing to me. You don't promise people stuff. I want it in writing. I want that stuff inked. I want to make sure you're forced to honor those pledges. Then I'm all for it. As opposed to that, there's no legal bond into that, so I'm not falling for that. Undermining global health and scientific expertise, that's something with the left, and we all know that. But let's get to Newsom, because it's important to point this out. Some of the positives: California Environmental Quality Act signed sweeping reforms, introducing non-exemptions to fast-track the construction of affordable housing, child care centers, food banks, and wildfire mitigation infrastructure. Deserves credit for that. $2.5 billion wildfire relief package. In response to the devastating wildfires, he secured bipartisan approval for the $2.5 billion aid package. Deserves credit for that. $50 million legal defense fund. I think this counts against him personally. Newsom endorsed the $50 million package aimed at safeguarding state polices, defending immigrants. The funding splits between the state DOJ and legal aid groups to combat federal overreach and mass deportation efforts. I don't know how that's going to go across the nation. In California, that might be cool. In New York, that might be cool. Sanctuary cities, sanctuary states. But throughout most of the country, people ain't vibing for that. So I don't know if that's a positive. But then